Hey guys, this is Melissa with MomSimpleLife.com, and I just wanted to show you today how to update your home and make it look a little bit newer. And this is a cheap, inexpensive thing to do. It's basically switching out your outlets and your outlet covers. But I will always recommend, even though I know what I'm doing, always make sure you get a book or do your research. So this is basically a wiring book that, you know, my dad gave me from Home Depot. So I've done this a lot ever since I was a teenage girl with my dad. My dad teaches me a lot, and I just want to basically show you that you don't have to be scared of this. You don't have to sit there and spend $100 an hour for some electrician to come out here and do your outlets. It's actually very simple, but just make sure you're safe about it. Get one of these. To be safe, you just basically poke the outlet, and I'll show you how to do all of this in a minute. But always sit there and don't just go on a YouTube video on a lot of stuff. Make sure you sit there and do a deep dive research to make sure that you know that this person actually knows what they're doing. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos and I'm just like, wow, really? You're teaching people how to do this, and it's so unsafe. Electricity is so dangerous, and you just sit there and don't want to take any person's word on it. So just sit there and make sure that you get one of these books. And actually, you don't even have to buy it straight from the store. You could go to Goodwill, because I've seen these books at Goodwill also. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is basically make sure the light is off, or the electricity is off to the outlet. I used to use one of these, but then my good friend that I work with, who is a certified electrician, said always make sure you get one of these. These actually make sure that you have the current off. So you sit there and just stick them in the hole. Just make sure, and then you can push that button if you want to double check. And there's nothing here. So then we sit there and just, I really like these right here because they hold, definitely for women, because we don't like to sit there and carry around a whole toolbox when we're going fixing stuff around the house. But it comes with different pieces, and you open up the bottom, and they have more pieces in the bottom. So I really enjoy this one here. It makes it just easy. So when I'm usually doing this, I actually keep all the pieces out for some reason, just to keep it where I can see it and I don't have to keep taking this on and off. And then they basically have reverse and forward, and then you can hold this and then it will reverse it like this for you. So this is a Cobalt one. So let's see, let's take this off. Makes it easy. So you want to sit there and double check again. It's always good to double check. You want to be safe. Okay, that's off. So let's take this. I hope the light is okay, because I actually have there is no overhead light in this room, and I just don't want to take the chance of trying to plug in extra lights. You know, you want to be safe when you're dealing with electricity and outlets. Okay, so you could take that out. If you want to double check again, just go across here. See, none of these are alive. Okay, so to make this easier, I'm going to sit there and actually just cut these off, because I have plenty of length here. We ended up getting this. I actually have an older one that was a little bit harder to use. So my boyfriend ended up getting this nice new one. This is by Southwire. And I'm also just going to cut my ground wire too. So right here you see that you have 3 cords, and I'll show you my plug. So my plug looks like this. So this is a very inexpensive plug you could get at Lowe's or Home Depot or basically wherever. And so when you want these, you can't put 3 into 1. You could put 1 in 1, but you cannot put, you know, 2 in 1. So what you actually do is you need to create a pigtail on this. So you basically take some extra like wire that you have, and this has the ground and the neutral and the hot wire in there. So you basically take like an X-Acto knife. They actually do have electrician's tools at the store if you want to be super safe about it. But if you're careful, you could use things like this for scoring the jackets and stuff. So I'm just going to cut this open. So when you slice it open, see, it kind of looks like this when you open it up inside. So you got your black wire, your white, and then your ground. So we actually won't be using this ground, so I can just put that aside. But I will be using these two. So what you do is you basically take your gauge wire and you need to figure out what type of gauge that you have. Nope, let's go down to a 14. There, so that was able to cut the wire. Sometimes you'll have these actually with multiple strands. So you just want to give it a twist if you have some that have the multiple strands. So it's actually pretty easy here. Okay, so then you can go to the store and they have packages of these like little nuts, basically. They're wing twist. And you actually need to sit there and find the correct size. Okay, so I basically have 4 14 gauge wires here. So I'm going to take my red wing nut and I'm going to group all this together. And then if I need to, they say it's about a 1/2 inch that you want on here. So if I need to, I could trim some of these a little bit shorter to my 1/2 inch. Okay. And then you just start twisting that on. And it'll sit there and just twist on. Okay, to test to make sure it is on, you're going to want to give all the wires a little bit of a tug, and that looks good. So at this point, you'll be taking your electrical tape. So after you're done twisting all these on, you want to sit there and give a little pull check to make sure that they're actually good. And then you sit there and use your electrical tape, and you want to sit there and cover the end of the nut. This is basically just for safety issues, so that you don't have any arcing or anything. You don't want any of this to come loose, and you don't want any exposed wires. If there's any like water that comes through your roof, down your wall, you don't want it to go inside. So you just want to basically wrap this really well. And you're going to hook it clockwise, actually. Sorry. That wasn't what I was doing. And the reason why you want to do that is because you're going to be turning clockwise. Okay, so even though I'm not going to put anything in here, I'm actually just going to screw that down. Because okay, so then you want to just start shoving this in there just a little bit, so then I could get my ground wire hooked up here. Ground wire usually goes to a green screw. And then same thing, counterclockwise, or I mean clockwise. Okay. After you are done, you can sit there and put your electrical tape on now. And you just want to wrap it around here to cover. usually do 2 good rounds around. Go with that, and now you just have to sit there and shove all your wires back into the little hole. Okay, I'll go get your tea. Okay, so now that we're at this part, I usually will use one of these. These are like foam insulations for the outer walls, but since this is an inner wall, I'm not going to be using this one today. So I just want to show you guys the difference between a smaller outlet cover and then a larger one. And then if you actually have it going in too much, you actually could back it off just a little bit. It's probably just too much, but it won't still move. Okay, so this is the little one, and then this is the big one. I really like how the large ones look. They look more grand, and I don't know, they just look better to me. I don't like the small ones, so you need to pay attention when you go buy these. They're like contractor pack boxes, because it's really hard to tell what size they come in. So bring one of your old ones to the store for an example. But before I put this on, actually I'm going to sit there and label the inside of the cover. So on the inside of the cover, I'm actually going to put some tape, and it's going to sit there and tell me what switch on my electrical panel turn this one off. Because I know sometimes those markings on your electrical panel start fading, so then it's really hard to tell which one of your switches was to what, you know, on the inside. So the one that I turned off with was the breaker 16, so I'm just going to label that. And then I am going to just stick this on. So try to be really careful of not scratching that paint on the screw. And then you always want your screw to be up and down. So it's going to be vertical, not horizontal. The reason why is because when dust starts falling, if it is horizontal, it'll get trapped in there. And it just looks nicer when all of your switches around your house are going up and down. So that's a little tip that I've learned from a contractor friend, and also from just, you know, like my interior design classes that I used to take. So that's it, and we'll back up and see what it looks like. One before, and it's just a really nice, cheap update to make your home look a little bit newer, and it's just, you know, quick and easy. So I'm gonna go show my other outlet that I have here. So you can kind of tell the difference here. You got that dingy look. Got my safety covers on here. But let's see. So it kind of looks really gross. So that's what the older one looks like. And that's the newer one there. It's all nice and white. And another quick tip is, if you have electrical stuff, you can sit there and make a box up like this. So you have all of your electrical stuff in one box in your garage. And we also have the cover labeled, and I'll show that to you. So usually when I go around doing my electrical stuff, I like to put it on something that I can just kind of slide. So this is actually the cover to the box, and it just is electrical with just, you know, some tape there. But when I do my electrical work, I just keep it on here, and then I can just slide this across the floor without losing anything. Everything is kind of together. So that's it.